But it will generate a 44% return on investment and £1,200 a month, which is brilliant. If you're not finding a deal, go and find a good deal sourcer, and then you've got an immediate deal. You learn the most from your first deal, and I think everyone kind of agrees with me there. The return on investment, for the fact that I've only put £2,190 in it, is at 273%, and my profit each month is £648.
Please put your hands together for Peter Young. Hello, Peter. Thank you.
Right, I enjoyed that clap. Thanks very much. So I don't think it's been any secret that I've had quite a lot of success last year. I've been sharing it in the WhatsApp group. So I want to see who wants to know my secret to success. Anyone? Yeah, fantastic. And who's nosy and wants to know my numbers? Yeah, exactly. Right, let's go. So who am I? Now, this is a story of my life in 15 photos. It's not particularly interesting for most people because you've already known me, but here we go. So I am an engineer. I'm a master's degree qualified mechanical engineer. I built pipelines all over the world. This is my wife, Alison. We met in Aberdeen. So I qualified in 2005. We met in 2005. I bought that house in Aberdeen in 2005. She bought this one in 2005. We then didn't live in it for a year. We only got there for a matter of months. So we moved to Australia, exciting adventure. We went there for a year. I managed to convince my company that she had a job there. She convinced her company that she had a job there. So we completely lied, but we got there to find out it was the same company anyway, because it's the same group of companies. Anyway, it worked. So fast forward a few years, we were there for much longer than the year, and we ended up buying our piece of land here. You can see the footings for, and we were going to build our first home together. And that is the home actually that we created. It won a design award. We completed that in 2014. I worked away for 3 years to make sure that we could take what was going to be an average house to an amazing house. We got married. We just completed it. We moved in. Next week we got married. And that's my architect who won the award. Things didn't go too well. I've been working away for 3 years. And at that point, my wife said to me, "You can't work away anymore. You have to come home and live in our house." So I quit my job. And I went to a very dark place. It took me 9 months to find a new job. We had to go to London to find a new job. But things came from that, and we got a son. Then I was unemployed again. Recurring theme here. So I'm a contractor, and I tend to go from project to project, and it'll be feast or famine. I'll make lots of money or no money. So a big fear of mine, the reason why I'm doing Mastermind, is that I want to make sure that I have security for those. During COVID, it happened again. So I had to leave Oman, and it was very difficult for me. But we finally got a job in London, and we moved on. So what have I done in my year is I've looked at the portfolio of assets we had. So you can see that, I think I might have missed out there actually, I bought a fourth property as well. I bought a property in central London when times were good. So my first company on Mastermind is my Young Property Partners company. And that is my company that I have manage my current assets, and I'm converting those to serviced accommodation. So the important thing to look at is I was taking something and converting it into serviced accommodation. So it's a design-led serviced accommodation company. I've got the first one I did, because I had to wait for all the leases to end, was my buy-to-let, my wife's buy-to-let in Aberdeen. I did that. Then the next lease came to an end, which was my 2-bed in Aberdeen, and I converted that. And then I've just finished one London one, which is it's fully booked for the next month and a half, which is fantastic. So that's now, instead of taking money out of my pocket, it's putting money back in it. And then I also got a rent to SA in London in the same building, so which is fantastic. And I have agreed to do deal sourcing through that company with my deal sourcer. So, and I also manage my buy-to-let in Australia through that company. But on the side, because one's not enough, I'm a creator, I have to do more than one thing, all right? So I created another company, it's Alchemized Estates. And Alchemized Estates is a design-led HMO company. At the moment, I've got one 4-bed, buy, refurbish, refinance in Portsmouth. So it currently is a bit short on the current standards that are coming in. So I need to refurb it and refinance it. I'll go through the numbers in a minute. And then this is another job in my pipeline with a property, which is a 2-bed to 3-bed. There's another one, and we'll talk about those later. Okay, case study 1 is my buy-to-let in Aberdeen. So it is located near a hospital. It's an existing purchase in our name. We manage it through a partnership. Originally, it was okay. It was just making a little bit of profit. It was safe money in your pocket. There was nothing wrong with it. So this happened, the lease came to the end during COVID. So Scotland's COVID, their restrictions went a bit longer than we did in England. And so I couldn't really get up there to fix things. So what I did is, in fact, actually, to tell you, I've not been to Aberdeen since 2017. I've refurbed this twice now, since 2017. I put a new bathroom in it, and I've now converted it to serviced accommodation. But I got an interior designer. She completely, with her trades, changed the whole place, and she also happened to be the manager of the company that did the serviced accommodation for me. So now it gets a great profit. I've got a block booking of 5 months. There's actually 5 single back-to-back bookings, and I'm getting about £968 a month, which is great for something that we bought for, I want to say, 118,000. So the return on investment for the fact that I only put 4,000 of my own money in is actually 204%. This is the second one. This is also in Aberdeen. Got a different interior designer in this instance because the first one was busy. This is a 2-bed in the centre of Aberdeen. Now, with serviced accommodation, it's very important, the location. So you have to have kind of an avatar in mind who would be renting your property. The first one was near a hospital, so obviously maybe people near hospital. It's not far from the city centre as well, but it's just a slightly different demographic. This one is it's got parking and it's in the centre of town, so it's very desirable for serviced accommodation. I checked that by talking to the serviced accommodation managers, said what's in the highest demand. Happened to be what I had in my pocket. So I had this. I've had this since 2005 or 6, I can't remember what I said, and it was making about £308 a month. I put a lot of money into it. Well, I borrowed some money, and I've also got my own money in there, refurbed it, and it's had amazing. It came on in, I'd say, June, and it's had amazing occupancy ever since. Between the first 2 properties, I've had between, I think it's 92 and 96% occupancy each month. The return on investment for the fact that I've only put £2,190 in it is at 273%, and my profit each month is £648. So this is my latest project, and it's been a thorn in my side. I think maybe I've bored everyone about this, right? But it is a property in central London. I got the keys back in March because the last tenant moved out. And it's had this massive damp patch well, laser's not working. Okay, this is a window here, and there's a massive damp patch. There's water been coming in from above. And we put a lot of effort into trying to find the source of the water and fixing the waterproofing issues. Now, I haven't actually managed to fix the waterproofing issues we thought we had, and it's starting to come back in again. So the first builder went missing in action, and I want to thank Craig for coming on board and helping me because Craig's a builder, and with his trades, we had a temporary fix, and it looks amazing now. So the majority of that refurb cost you can see there is actually the cost of borrowing. So the cost of borrowing needs to be factored into your refurbs. You need to put in your mortgage payments for the time it's empty. So that particular property is £2,000 a month. And that's taken me 6 months to turn around. So that refurb could have been much cheaper if we'd found the source of that water. Anyway, but return on investment, 89%. The rate is £300 a night. It will go up, it will go down, but the average is £300 a night, and it's 75% occupancy. There's actually, in this location, there are ones going at £400 a night, and they don't look as nice as mine. This has got a view of the canal, so it's like, this is Regent's Canal, Zone 1, London. This one is in the same building, and I put up this terrible little piece of paper on the notice board, and it said, wanted, flat to rent, 3 to 5 years, right? And someone texted me about a week, maybe a week or 2 weeks after I put it up, and ironically, it turned into my most profitable deal, right? So even doing the slightest of things can create massive returns. So as you can see there, I'm already telling you 2.3K a month at 75% occupancy. Same rate, £300 a night. So this one isn't quite complete yet. You can see that the wall mural's just gone up. It's in the same location. It'll be SA and short lets because we've got a 90-day rule in London. I put in 4.9 thousand of my own money, and I put the rest I borrowed. But the profit based upon the 4.9K is 572% return on investment, which is just kind of eye-watering, really. I had to double-check my figures. I think quadruple-checked my figures because that doesn't seem right, but it is. This is going to Alchemy's Estates, and this is my other property. It's a 4-bed HMO. It's located in Fratton in Portsmouth, which is slightly north. It's tired. Let's just put it that way. It's horrible inside. I would never want anyone to rent in it, but I do have tenants in there right now. They're paying me $400 with the utilities excluded, which is fantastic because the utilities are going up. Now, there's a new space standard come in, so there's lots of HMOs in Portsmouth that don't meet the space standards. It's all about living space. So if you have a 10 metre squared room or above, you have a certain living space requirement. If you have a 6.5 metre room, you have an even bigger requirement. So I'm going to reconfigure this. The bedrooms will stay the same. I might take out the chimney breast, and then I'm going to knock the kitchen into the bathroom and move the bathrooms upstairs. But all in all, it's 35K. The new rent will be 600 a room. And we are going to refinance it and only leave 32,000 in, but it will generate a 44% return on investment and £1,200 a month, which is brilliant. So these are the summaries of the deals that have completed. I've got a future deal slide next. So I've all based upon the own money invested. The one on the far right is based upon the refurb being complete. And there's some very good returns on investment. So I would say look in what your portfolio already has and see what you can do, what you can spend on it to make it much higher yielding. Because I know there's people in the room, you've all got buy-to-lets, and those buy-to-lets could be changed. You know, my intent was to create financial security for my family, and I've just about done it. So I've got 6,300 monthly profit, and I'll have 75K annual profit a year on my own. So I've been full-time working and achieved that. So my future deals, here we go. This is a 2-bed to 3-bed conversion. It's a flat with lease issues. There's an issue with the head lease. The head lease says that if you can't prove that you've paid the ground rent or the service charge, they can take the lease back off you. But there's no management company in place. So there's no record of the current owner ever having paid it, which is bit of a pain in the backside. It's a shared freehold as well. So the lender won't lend me the money unless I get it resolved. So we're going through it, but it's a 105 purchase price. But once I refurb it, we'll hit 225,000 GDV. I'll register it to get it to C4, so we can get it a minimo. It's below the 100 grand well, not quite below 100 grand, but it's in the region that Simon was talking about earlier about for minimos, you want a purchase price around the 100K. It will be infinite ROI because I'll take all the money out plus £35,500. So I'm excited, but that's going to probably complete next month. I've got another 4-bed HMO, it's an ex-council house. It's also a buy, refurb, refinance. It's pretty horrible. It could also go as a flip. So I always like to have multiple exit strategies. It will take £53,000 in to buy it, another 20 to refurb it, and we'll hit it at 270. So I'm buying it for 205, and the profit each month will be £925. If I'm honest, I don't think long term I'll keep hold of this one for long. I'll probably just flip it on and move to another deal, get all the cash back out. But this one is probably the one I'm really looking forward to because it's in Southampton. It's a 7-bed HMO. The second and third one there both have issues in the fact that they don't have C4 status, which is what's required for HMO to be legal from a planning perspective. And so we've gathered all the necessary evidence and we've applied for a certificate of lawful use. And so when that goes through, I will then purchase the property. But we've agreed 310,000. It'll take 85,000 in, 40,000 refurb, and then because I'm buying on a bricks and mortar mortgage, right, a bricks and mortar valuation, it's actually going to have a commercial valuation. So it can push the rents up. It's a bit shabby on the inside, as you can imagine, and the profit will then be 2,500 a month. It'll have an infinite ROI because I'll have taken all my initial money out, and there's another 109 if I mortgage right up to the commercial valuation, which we're not taught to really do. We're taught to don't get yourself into negative equity because if the HMO standard changes, you can get yourself burnt. So I could have done another slide of all the deals that I've pulled out on because there's been, I think, 2 or 3 that I've pulled out on based upon the learnings I've made. But that will take you into the next slide. But so monthly profit on the future deals is 4,200 a month, which is 51 annually just from these 3. But total, if you add the slides that I've completed on and these, it'll be 126,000 a year. That is, well, I'm beyond financially free anyway. So, but let's move into my top tips. So knowledge for me is everything. You need to do your due diligence, and you can only do due diligence if you know what you're talking about. So you need to know what's in the area, what standards are coming in, what is driving the local economy. Maybe there's people coming, maybe something's going to shut down soon. You want to get out of the market. Maybe they're building student HMOs, which means all these student HMOs are going to come on the market. Anyway, another thing is to identify and assess multiple exit strategies. So you can see that one of my previous flips, so my previous job, my future pipeline, I've got 2 jobs there that could either be a flip, which would be lower profit. If I don't get the certificate of lawful use, I'll flip it. And the other one, there's the 7-bed to 8-bed. If I don't get certificate of lawful use, I'll change it into 3 flats. So there'll be lower profit margins, but there's multiple exit strategies. Another thing that I'm really passionate about is you need to build and control your pipeline of deals. And I've learned this from Mastermind. Your biggest issue is that you come on and we learn we go to estate agents and we do all these things. We write HMO letters, but the problem is that you're not actually you may not find a deal for many months because we don't have the skills to do it. So what I would say is you need to, if you're not finding a deal, go and find a good deal sourcer, and then you've got an immediate deal. You learn the most from your first deal, and I think everyone kind of agrees with me there. Also, you need to build relationships with people. So if you do find a deal sourcer or you find a good mortgage advisor, you can't just demand things straight away without them knowing, building a relationship, understanding who you are, what you're trying to achieve. So my mortgage advisor knows that I'm trying to buy lots of properties, so he's like, okay, no worries, I'll look after you. My deal sourcer, I said, look, this is the area, but I'm also looking at these kind of areas, so he knows what I'm looking for. If they don't know that and they don't know you, how are they going to help you? Play to your strengths, get someone else to do things you don't like. So I am a creator. So if you haven't done wealth dynamics, do your wealth dynamics, read it again. I'm a creator. It means that I'm in this kind of top area here, it's kind of a dynamo. It means I could come up with 10 business ideas now. If you force me to, I could do to 20, right? But I couldn't finish any of them. So I recognise that these tempo tasks at the bottom aren't something that are any good for me. That's not where I function. So I need to get VAs or JVs with people down here or to the left, which is like the steel types, rather than the blazers. Anyway, leverage your time, which is kind of what I just said. is that you need to get these people to do your work. So I have been full-time consulting and achieved all those jobs. I've not even been to Aberdeen to refurb those projects. I've done it all remotely, and it is knackering because you just work every evening. And if you have no experience, hold a very large contingency. So ask yourself, what's the best that could happen? Strive for it, but make sure you've got enough cash for what's the worst that can happen, right? Because it could quite literally happen, right? And tell everyone what you do. Tell everyone what you do on social media. Tell everyone what you do at work, which is funnily enough where I've got my investors from. And just get out there. When you're picking up the kids, there's other people that want to know. So yeah, that's my presentation. I would just like to say that I'm not quite financially free, but 2023 I will be, right? Which is the goal that I set out for. You can look at buying more things, but consider what you've already got. This is quite key because you can make a lot higher yields based upon what you already have. It's quite easy to ignore it. And thank you very much, Simon. Thank you very much to Dave, and thank you very much to Andy and everyone in the room for everything you've done for me. Been great support. Thank you very much.
Well done, Peter. Thank you for sharing. That's great. Thank you. Again, fantastic. And you know what? Really interesting. One of the things we teach people, they come on Mastermind, and please listen very carefully at home. If you already have investment properties, one of the best things you do is look at that existing portfolio and ask yourself, are they really doing what they should be doing? Are we working as hard as we can with those assets? So it's an obvious starting place. And Peter's a great example of trusting the process and just doing the things we say. For example, telling everyone what you do. Some of the money he's raised to fund those deals have been people who he's known at work. And how many people don't tell the people at work because they're nervous what people might think or what they might say? Well, it doesn't really matter. You are limiting yourself if you're not telling people what you do. So really important to get out there, tell people what's going on. I do hope you got massive value from watching this YouTube video. I'd encourage you to click on the link below to come and do the online training with me. And I've got another video lined up for you, which I think is also going to be really useful that you should watch once you've registered for the online training with me. So invest with knowledge, invest with skill. I'll see you very soon.